Hi everyone, and welcome back to Ronnie the Reader. Today we are going over something very exciting. I'm going to be posting my first official TBR video to this channel. I have posted in the past some videos where I wanted to read a particular books in in a specific year or something, but this is my first TBR video created for a particular month, or in this example, Readathon. So I am going to be participating in the Magical Readathon, which was created by G over at Book Roast. It used to be Harry Potter themed, but after everything with J.K. Rowling, G created her own separate world called Aurelium, and I have seen this around. I haven't participated since it was specific to Harry Potter, but I've been seeing it around this year, and I did miss the spring term, but I wanted to jump in the fall because there's, not any rule necessarily against it, but I am super excited to be participating in this one this year, so we're going to go over my TBR. I picked Mindmender as my career, and I joined the Order of the Crescent Guild. I did the little quiz to find out which guild I would belong to. So I joined that over on Discord. So all of that information will be in the description box below, and you can go watch G's video about it. But we're going to be going over what I need in each subject to kind of get the Mindmender term. So in order to be a Mindmender, you need to get an O in spells and incantations, a D in psionics and divination, and a Q in restoration. I am super excited to be going over my TBR for each of these, and if you need an example, I'm not going to get too much into it, of kind of how the Magical Readathon works or what each level means and kind of all of that, go watch G's video. Of course, if you are here, you probably have already seen it before, so definitely she explains it really, really well over there. So let's jump in. So O is the first level, and it is a charm of luck. So this prompt was to roll a 6-sided dice and read a book within that page bracket. So I have already rolled the die, so I will flash myself forward to that clip so you can see what I did land on. All right, so I have a die here, 6-sided. We're gonna roll it on top of my cat's food box. And we're gonna see how many pages I'm gonna be reading for this first book. So hopefully we get a low number. 4. Okay, middle of the road. 4, so between 400 and 499 pages. Okay, so as you can see, I landed on a 4, which is 400 to 499 pages. So for this one, I picked The Wizard Heir by Cinda Williams Shima. This is a book that has been on my TBR. I actually own that whole series as well as the Seven Realms series by this author many, many years ago. I started The Wizard Heir shortly thereafter and got about halfway through, but then just never finished it. So I'm going to be restarting it, jumping back in, and hopefully finishing it because I want to make progress on both of those series since I do own them. Yeah, we'll see how I feel about this. It's a YA fantasy, urban kind of fantasy that follows these kids who essentially get kind of woken up that they are part of this long line of magical beings and stuff like that. In the first book, I remember having a lot of fun with it, and it was just good. And this book, I did like the first half of it when I was reading it. I just wasn't compelled to completely get to it. So I'm curious to see how I feel about it now, now that I'm kind of getting back into fantasy, getting a little bit more into YA after I had kind of grown out of it for a little bit. And so I'm just curious to see how this one goes for me. So that's the only book that I need to read for that particular subject. So we are moving on to psionics and divination. So to get an O, you have to do premonition prep, and this is a genre spin. I also have already done this, so I will put it over the screen, but I just included kind of the favorite genres that I typically read on here, and so I ended up landing on, drumroll, romance. So I picked What Is This Feeling by Robbie Weber, which has been a book that I've wanted to read since it came out last September. Going to hopefully get this one and read it. It's a YA romance between two men, I believe. It, I think, is set in Paris, if I'm not mistaken, and is kind of following this summer fling between these two boys. Or no, this one is not set in Paris. I think this one is maybe New York City, actually. Excuse me. I think his newest book coming out this year is set in Paris. This one is, I believe, New York City. So have read the first two Robbie Weaver books that he published, and I enjoyed both of them, so I think that this one will be the same, but we'll see when I do actually read it. Next is getting a Q, which is Future Sight, which is a book with a movie and TV show or TV show adaptation. And so this one I picked The Man in the High Castle by Philip K. Dick, which was an Amazon show. Did read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick last year, and I enjoyed it. That is what Blade Runner is based off of, and I've heard really good things about this book and this show. This is an alternative history, almost science fiction-esque book where, or at least I think it's science fiction, where the axis of evil powers won World War II. I think this one is going to be really intense, especially with America's current political situation. It might kind of hit a little too close to home at this point, but we'll see, because I've heard fantastic things about the book and TV show, and I do want to watch the TV show. I've wanted to watch it for many years, but I've always wanted to read the book first. So excited to get to this one. I think this is the book I'm most excited to read for this particular magical readathon. Next is D, which is Dream Interpretations, and a book that fits a theme of recent dreams. And my recent dreams have kind of been anxiety dreams, I'm not gonna lie. I've just kind of had a lot going on in my mind, and a lot of the dreams I've had have just kind of been a little bit anxious, a little bit tense. And so for this book, I picked Hostage by Claire McIntosh, which is like a mystery thriller suspense novel that I do own, and I've read a couple Claire McIntoshes. This one, I believe, is following people who are on a plane that does get taken hostage, which I can imagine would cause people a lot of anxiety, obviously. And so I'm curious to see how this one goes, because I haven't heard the best things about it, and so I haven't been compelled to pick it up, even though I do own it. But it is short. I think it's only like 320 pages, and so hopefully I can get through it pretty quickly. And then finally is getting a Q in Restoration. So in order to qualify at the O level, you need to do Unbroken Focus, which is a single POV book. And for this one, I picked You Belong Here by Megan Miranda, which I believe is a single POV. It's a mystery thriller that is a newest release by Megan Miranda, and so I'm excited to get to this one. Like I said, I think it's a single POV. There may be other POVs in there. I'm not quite sure. So if that ends up being the case, I'll find a new book to replace this one with. But for right now, that's what I do have slotted in, because I'm going to read this in September regardless. I have the audiobook for it, and I've kind of slotted it in for September. Is just where it's going to fit best for me, and I'm in the mood for it right now. And it's a quick audiobook, so excited to get to this one because I really love Megan Miranda's. I don't know what this one is about. I just kind of go into her books blind now because she's basically an auto-read author for me at this point. Finally, we have for Restoration for the Q level is Continental Remedies. Generate a random country and pick a book from there. So once again, I've already generated that country, so I will go over to that clip so you can see which country I got. All right, and we landed on Iceland, which is honestly not the worst thing. I was really scared for this one as far as getting some very obscure country that I just don't know if I'd be able to read a book even set in that country, like available to me. But we landed on Iceland. And so for this one, I picked Snowblind by Ragnar Johannes, I believe is how you pronounce the author's name. I did look up a pronunciation guide, but I barely can speak English correctly, let alone saying an Icelandic name. Like, honestly, I'm being so honest. So I believe that's how you say this author's name, but this book is part of a series. I think that was originally published in like the 2010s at some point. It's like a mystery thriller crime series that I think is following a detective who is investigating a murder. In this particular first book in the series, it's a murder of a young woman who I think is found in like this very small coastal fishing village in Iceland. I'm excited. The audiobook for it, I think, is only like 8 or 9 hours, if even that long. And it was available through my library. And so that just kind of made it the perfect choice to pick for this one. And I'm actually excited because it's kind of an interesting book. I typically don't read like detective mystery thrillers or detective-driven novels, but I'm excited to read this one. I think it's going to be good. I typically don't read also like series, specifically like mystery thriller kind of series like this. So we'll see how I feel about that aspect of it, but usually they are pretty like standalone. So it's not like I will be missing anything, hopefully, if I don't decide to continue in the series. But I always could decide if I end up loving this and it becoming like my new favorite thing. So we'll see. That is everything for today's Magical Readathon TBR. This is taking place in the month of September. So please let me know down below if you are planning on participating in the Magical Readathon and what career you're going for, what guild are you in, and what is your TBR, obviously, for that particular career. So yes, thank you so much once again, but that is it for me today. So I'll be back soon with another video. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you again.